Gmar Chatima Tova.
Gmar Chatima Tova.
Every morning in Barbie Land is perfect. Stereotypical Barbie wakes up with a smile on her face, excited to see her friends. She sits up in bed, waves to her neighbors, puts on her high-heeled slippers, and begins her day. She brushes her shiny white teeth, takes a shower at the perfect temperature, and goes downstairs for breakfast, a heart-shaped pancake, which pops out of the toaster onto her waiting plate, followed by a dollop of perfectly placed whipped cream. Back upstairs after breakfast, Barbie throws open wide her wardrobe full of beautiful clothes in every shade of pink imaginable. Once magically dressed, she stands at the top of her mansion, smiling, then floats down into her Pepto-Bismol pink convertible. All the other Barbies line the street to greet her as she drives through Barbie Land, smiling and waving. She is happy. At her party that night, she voices thoughts that no Barbie, let alone stereotypical Barbie, should have. Do you guys ever think about dying? The record scratches and the music grinds to a halt. Looks of disgust and discomfort play out on her guests' faces. Realizing her mistake, she pulls herself together, smiling, laughing, and dancing the rest of the night away. Cut to the next morning. Barbie wakes up with a start, disheveled, waving hesitantly to her neighbors, wiping sleep from her eyes. She looks stressed. She cups her hand to her mouth, smelling her awful morning breath. And this time, when she steps into the shower, the water is frigid. Downstairs, her heart-shaped pancake pops out of the toaster onto her plate, burnt to a crisp. The dollop of whipped cream plops onto the counter, not quite making it on top of her pancake. She lifts a glass to her mouth. Yuck, spoiled milk. Back upstairs, she stands at the top of the mansion, surveying the scene below, and instead of floating down, she plummets, landing in a heap next to her beloved convertible. Ouch. Something is terribly wrong. Barbie has never experienced a morning like this. We have all lived days like this, days in which everything goes our way. We put on our favorite outfit, and it looks great. Our children are ready for school on time and getting along with one another. We try a new place for breakfast that is delicious. The sun is shining, our favorite song comes on, and everything feels bright and new. And we have been through days that follow our friend Murphy's Law. We do not hear our alarm go off, rush to get dressed, have a fight with our partner, and spill coffee all over ourselves right before a big meeting. I did that last one the other day, narrowly missing this robe. Society likes to play up these bad days, preying on our insecurities. Ads target our flaws, and then brands swoop in to save the day with their incredible new products. We have been taught that we should act happy, but never be happy with what we have. That there is always something newer, shinier, prettier waiting for us. If only we work harder, spend more money, get further ahead. We chase promotions with more prestige and higher salaries, competitive athletic and artistic programs that will propel our children into the top schools so that they, in turn, will find the best career opportunities. A white picket fence turns into a gated community. A modest house becomes a mansion with more square footage than a person could possibly enjoy. The car, which signals freedom, morphs into multiple top-of-the-line sports cars and SUVs. Security gives way to gluttony. We run the rat race and buy more, as we play an endless game of keeping up with the Steins. Each new purchase sparks a hit of dopamine, a flash of happiness that soon fades, and the dance continues. But there come those achingly empty days. Suddenly, we look at our lives and realize the day-to-day activities and possessions that once brought us joy no longer do. We feel out of place. Everything is just a little off. This is the lie that society has fed us, that happiness can be found in material wealth and corporate success, that it exists wholly outside of ourselves. Barbie feels it. Her once perfect life no longer makes her happy. She is desperate to fix it. At first, she wants to return to the time before her negative thoughts. Give her the high heel, a blank mind content with material possessions and perfect day after perfect day. With wisdom from Weird Barbie, stereotypical Barbie understands that she must walk the path to enlightenment, go into the messy, real world, rather than wipe her mind. Traveling from the real world to help Barbie overcome this challenge, America Ferrera's character shares the earth-shattering truth with her. It is literally impossible to be a woman. You are so beautiful and so smart, and it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Like, we have to always be extraordinary, but somehow we're always doing it wrong. You have to be thin, but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but also you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be the boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the time. You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane, but if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much or that you threaten other women because you're supposed to be part of the sisterhood. But always stand out and always be grateful, but never forget that the system is rigged. So find a way to acknowledge that, but also always be grateful. You have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard. It's too contradictory, and nobody gives you a medal or says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault. I'm just so tired of watching myself and every single other woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us. And if all of that is also true for a doll just representing women, then I don't even know. Sitting in the theater, I nodded along. Preach, America. In conversation after conversation, people excitedly shared that they felt it too. It was as if she was speaking directly to us. The pressure of societal norms is too heavy, too contradictory. There is no way to live up to them, and it makes people miserable trying. Ken experiences it as well. He's only happy when Barbie notices him. If she pays attention to others, he feels jealous, and he knows that Barbie does not feel the same way about him. He is constantly trying to win her affection and failing. He competes with the other Kens instead of making friends. Consistently, the Barbies and Kens look to external sources for their happiness. We often do the same, but we will not find it there. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory speaks to this issue. He shares that though we are more affluent than any generation before us, research shows that we are not happier. He goes on to describe two types of happiness: the happiness derived from experiencing pleasure from external sources, the type of happiness society foists upon us, which evaporates quickly after each rush from clicking buy now or eating yet another extravagant meal, and a deeper, longer-lasting happiness derived from making meaning of our lives, determining our purpose on earth. This happiness, Sachs says, does not diminish over time. In fact, it increases over time because it tells us that our life is worthwhile and we've made a positive difference to others. How then do we find meaning in our lives? For this, we turn to an ancient text, one that we read every Shabbat, Elu Devarim. Rabbi Evan Moffick, son of our own Rusty and Steve Moffick, wrote a book about this ancient wisdom, calling Elu Devarim the happiness prayer. Elu Devarim she'en lahem shiur, she'adam ochel perotehem ba'olam hazeh v'hakeren kayemet lo la'olam haba ve'elu hein. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's parents, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all because it leads to them all. This prayer gives us 10 concrete actions, most of them relational, that help us lead lives of meaning and purpose. We find meaning in our lives when we engage with others. Some share that they find the divine presence through their relationships with others. Judaism requires us to be in community. Our sages understood the power of connection. They penned this prayer, providing us with a blueprint, expounded in Torah, simplified here, for connecting, the ultimate way of making meaning and finding lasting joy. First, honoring our ancestors, those who had to live in order for us to be alive and reach this moment, or those we chose to fulfill the parental role. Honoring a parent is not always easy, but it humbles us to respect someone who took part in shaping our lives. It is no easy task to be a parent, and it deserves recognition. Engaging in gemilut chasadim, acts of compassion, bringing empathy to the forefront of our minds in order to help others, adds tremendous meaning to our days. The scholars of the rabbinic period understood arriving early for study to mean having a sense of enthusiasm and earnestness. We should strive to maintain a zest for life and learning, which leaves us open to awe and wonder. Abraham teaches us of the value hachnasat orchim, welcoming guests. We know what it is like to be the new person, and it makes all the difference in the world if a kind individual brings us into the fold. Visiting the sick, rejoicing with the bride and groom, accompanying the dead for burial, call us to show up for the people in our lives, to be present for their joys and challenges, to share in all that life has to offer. Devoting time to a prayer practice and the study of Torah asks us to attend to our spiritual lives. And that greatest challenge, making peace among people, we must commit ourselves to the work of learning to understand one another and not only embrace but celebrate our differences. These are the ways that we add meaning and purpose to our lives. All too often, we allow others to define our happiness. We live in a society that prizes consumerism and productivity, always pushing us to achieve more, the better grade, bigger promotion, fancier car, more perfect family. Billboards and ads in magazines put out the siren call, breaking us down into imperfections that their skincare line, gym membership, or clothing brand will fix instantaneously. The truth is, no matter how hard we try, keeping up with the Steins will never grant us happiness. Instead of looking outward, we must train our gaze within. Quiet ourselves. Listen for the voice, still and small, that is ours. Barbie does exactly that. trading in the superficiality of Barbie land for a life in the real world, one that is messy, beautiful, and emotionally rich. She searches for a life of meaning, like our sages before us and ourselves. Perhaps we can find the guideposts for true happiness in Jewish tradition with the prayer Elu Devarim. In this year of 5784, may we step away from societal expectations and external measures of success. May we instead walk toward defining our own happiness. May we create meaning and purpose in our lives. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will.